Let's bring in retired colonel of the Israeli Defense Forces, Miri, former advisor to the Prime Minister. Thanks so much for joining us. What is your latest assessment of the exchange of missiles overnight, including, of course, that hospital being hit an hour and a half south of Tel Aviv?
I'm in Tel Aviv right now. As you're seeing me, I'm inside my house. I'm one of many Israelis, around 40%, that does not have a safe room inside my house. So when the early warning goes off, when the siren goes off, because there are two different warnings, it means I need to go to a place to be safe. So in this attack this morning, nobody was killed in Israel, and everybody looks at it in the terms of how many people have been killed. But what the Islamic regime just targeted, what they just attacked, and quite proudly, they know they hit a hospital, is the biggest hospital down south. You know, we have the same kind of national health system that you have in the UK. We're very proud of it. It is a very large hospital. It takes care of all of Israel's southern residents. It has an enormous maternity ward, and the area that was directly hit by the missile was only evacuated yesterday. And I look at that right now and I think just of these different distances. It isn't an exchange of blows. There's no question here that Israel initiated a campaign against the capabilities of the Islamic regime. And we're seeing those incoming rockets, those heavy-duty, half-a-ton missile heads that are coming in and doing devastation. But we do feel that we are protected, safe, as long as we do what we're told.
It's interesting to hear you say that Israel did initiate the attacks. What do you think is likely in the next few days? Let's say, first of all, if the US does not come in, do you expect more of the same, or do you expect things to intensify?
I don't see them intensifying. When I say more of the same, Israel has achieved since Friday, and we're already on Thursday today, the term in military terms is air superiority. We can send our different platforms and we can target the Iranian Revolutionary Guard targets, the missile sites, the nuclear sites, the different sites that are military installations throughout all of Iran. We did that in that initial attack on Friday morning, but that was the strike that was the beginning of a campaign. So we'll continue to attack the nuclear sites, the missile sites, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and those installations, as we've been doing, even if the Americans do not join in.
Do you expect the Americans to join in?
It's the question that everybody's asking. I'm smiling as if it's something happy. I don't know. If there's one thing that I won't answer, and I don't mean to be cute about it, is what President Trump will decide or not decide to do. There's no question that they're gathering forces. There's no question that they're taking precautions. And if the United States joins in, that would be much more focused on specifically some of the nuclear sites. But in the meantime, Israel is continuing with this campaign against not symbols of the Islamic regime, not at all against the Iranian people, but against this regime that makes these weapons, exports them to all of their proxies, has used them with their proxies against us for 24 years, and is trying to achieve nuclear capability against all of those different targets.
I'll come back to the Iranian targets in a moment, but just to close off the question about the US, do you think Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump, their relationship is in a decent place, a very good place? Was it a little bit strained, you know, for much of the last few months?
I live in a very strange world for the last few months, and can I say for the last 20 months, and I want to say even longer. I'm inside Israel, a country that's been under attack from so many different things, and it's being vilified as being the aggressor. And I say that because the Islamic regime has been attacking Israel for so long. And in this case, President Trump is the United States of America. We're not the 51st state of the United States. We're here in the Middle East. We border Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and Egypt, not the United States. So the relationship between the two figures, we're not in the room with them. I don't know. I think that they both have very strong bases and they work very strongly with both their political bases, but they also have ideologies. And here I will say, as somebody who has been very much vehemently against a lot of policies of this prime minister that I am inside the country of, meaning I've been against a lot of policies of Prime Minister Netanyahu, but this issue of the Islamic regime, of what they not stand for, of what they've created, is something that has been there for him his entire political life in the 1990s and in the last 15 years. And this isn't because of that you're doing that. This is a clear and present danger against Israel, to me, against broader than that. I'm not sure that President Trump sees it the same. I think that they have both a lot in common, but they also have a lot of differences.
To go back to your point about the targets for Israel in Iran, I mean, presumably you expect there will, and there has been, some civilian casualties as well. Do you think Israel has done well to minimize those casualties, or could it be doing more? What's your assessment on the proportionality there in Iran?
My heart goes out to all of the civilian casualties, to the people inside Iran or Tehran, and for that matter, let's be clear, to the people within the Gaza Strip, to the people inside Lebanon. Yes, Israel attacks and targets, and the civilian loss of life is horrible. The fact that Israel has built a lot of protection for its civilian life here shouldn't be held against us. This isn't a football game 25-0. We've had very few, I shouldn't say very few, we've had 25 Israeli casualties from the Iranian missiles, but that's only because we are all given an early warning after they launched the rockets, told to go to safe places, and we've seen how important that is. We don't target any civilian sites. We don't do so in any of the places. One of the challenges that I have is that in the Gaza Strip or in Lebanon with Hezbollah, they hide within the civilian places. Here we're talking about the country called Iran, the Islamic regime. They've ruled there for 45 years. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard is a UK designated terror organization, not just by Israel or the United States or the EU. The UK also sees it as such. All of the targets that Israel has attacked, both the nuclear and the missile and all the different installations inside the cities and outside the cities, are all part of that construction of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. And in that sense, I think we're very targeted, and my heart again goes out to any civilian that is caught up in this.
Clearly, as you said, Israel has had, relatively speaking, success in resisting Iranian retaliation over the last few days, despite, of course, some awful tragedies. If the US were to join in and attack Iran, and if they were to use, in some capacity, British assets, like refueling at a British base, for example, on a British aircraft carrier, what might be Iran's response, do you think, to the US and to the UK?
Iran has preempted you in that sense, in the sense that Khamenei, the supreme leader, already said, UK, don't step in, US, don't step in. By the way, he also said it to Germany and to France. He's trying to deter you. How does he deter you? Same missiles with those heavy-duty half-a-ton explosives that have been hitting Israel can reach London, can reach Berlin. So most definitely, that's part of the deterrence, is to make sure you don't join in, because then the Islamic regime won't attack you. I have to tell you from an Israeli perspective, and I don't mean to say this lightly, is the fact that everybody takes for granted that it's okay that the Islamic regime can attack Israel through the proxies, through everything that they supply, that when we preempt now against all of these different facilities, what everybody is worried about is make sure that we don't get involved. For me, that's a little challenging. I'm sitting here right now. The Islamic regime calls the US the big devil and us the little devil, and everybody's kind of okay with the fact that the little devil is being attacked. It must be our problem. And I apologize for being sarcastic on the air, but that's how it looks like from Israel. So in that sense, absolutely, they would definitely try to retaliate. I'm not saying, and I want that to happen to you, but I do think that the Islamic regime is a challenge and a threat. Certainly, if it would go nuclear, not to Israel, but to all of the different values that stand clear for all of us, and we should all be very clear about that.
Miri, thanks for joining us. Good to see you.